relive in interesting times on tonight's headlines. An Indonesian Lion airplane carrying 189 passengers and crew crashes into the sea moments after it had asked to be allowed to return to the capital, Jakarta. President Duterte said he's monitoring Typhoon Rosita, international name Yutu, which is expected to make landfall over the Isabela Aurora area on Tuesday morning. Thousands mourn the victims of a fatal shooting at a Pittsburgh synagogue, an assault that saw a gunman who said he wanted all Jews to die open fire on a mostly elderly group. Leicester City's Thai billionaire boss was among 5 people killed when his helicopter crashed and burst into flames in the Premier League side Stadium Car Park moments after taking off from the pitch. I'm Alma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thank you very much for joining us. And now to the news. A brand new Indonesian Lion airplane carrying 189 passengers and crew crashed into the sea moments after it had asked to be allowed to return to Jakarta. Relatives of passengers on the Lion Air flight that crashed after taking off from Jakarta arrived at Pangkal Pinang Airport to wait for the news. The Boeing 737 MAX, which went into service just months ago, vanished from radar 13 minutes after taking off from the Indonesian capital, plunging into the Java Sea. Now, video footage apparently filmed at the scene of the crash showed a slick of fuel on the surface of the water. The Indonesian budget carrier says it lost contact with the aircraft after it took off from the capital, Jakarta, shortly after 6 a.m. on Monday. Lion Air says flight JT610 was heading for an island in northern Indonesia. Disaster agency spokesman Sutopo Purwo Nugroho tweeted pictures of debris, including what appeared to be an emergency slide, various parts of a smashed mobile phone. Indonesia's National Transportation Safety Committee, meanwhile, said there were 178 adult passengers, 1 child, 2 infants, 2 pilots, and 6 cabin crew on board the flight JT610. The Flight Radar website tracked the plane and showed it looping south on takeoff and then heading north before the flight path ended abruptly over the Java Sea, not far from the coast. Meanwhile, Indonesian President Joko Widodo says Indonesia's search and rescue agency, military, and the national police have been instructed to conduct operations as soon as possible for the victims of the Lion airplane that crashed into the sea carrying 189 passengers. Take a look.
Pagi tadi langsung saya memerintahkan kepada Kepala Basarnas yang dibantu oleh TNI dan Polri untuk segera melakukan operasi pencarian dan pertolongan secepat-cepatnya kepada korban. Kita lakukan upaya yang terbaik untuk menemukan dan menyelamatkan korban, dan saya terus berdoa dan berharap korban bisa segera ditemukan. Saya merasakan kerisauan yang mendalam dari seluruh keluarga korban. Namun, kita berharap para keluarga korban bisa tenang menunggu tim SAR yang sekarang ini sedang bekerja keras di lokasi kejadian. Saya juga telah memerintahkan KNKT untuk melakukan penyelidikan atas peristiwa ini dan segera menyampaikan hasil penyelidikannya secepat-cepatnya.
Meanwhile, all 189 passengers and crew aboard the crashed Indonesian Lion Air jet were likely killed in the accident, according to the search and rescue agency, as it announced it had found some human remains. Some 40 divers are part of about 150 personnel at the scene, and authorities said with the plane in water about 30 to 40 meters deep. An Indonesian man has described how Jakarta's notorious traffic inadvertently saved his life on Monday after he arrived too late to catch the doomed Lion airplane, which plunged into the sea minutes after taking off. Sonny Setyawan, an official in Indonesia's finance ministry, had meant to be on board the ill-fated flight JT610, a journey he and his colleagues caught on a weekly basis. But while his friends battled their way through Jakarta's daily congestion to make the flight, Sonny found himself stuck on a toll road for hours.
Saya awalnya ke Pandang, Pak. Nah ini jam 6.20 Pandang. Udah boarding pas sudah Pak ya. Pas boarding nih sudah boarding. Karena tapi nggak dibalas. Tadinya kalau memang pesawat masih delay saya bisa ngejar kan gitu. Tapi ternyata mungkin udah terbang karena tidak ada jawaban dari beliau gitu. Udah dimatikan ya. Udah dimatikan udah terbang Pak. Ya sudah. Sonny Setiawan.
Now, Setyawan, who is from Bandung in West Java, said he managed to catch a second flight to Pangkal Pinang City and only learned of the crash once he landed safely. The call he made to his briefly stricken family was filled with emotion. Jakarta is known for having some of Southeast Asia's worst traffic congestion, with lengthy tailbacks and hours-long delays, a daily frustrating ritual for commuters. In other news, President Duterte said he's monitoring Typhoon Rosita, international name U2, which is expected to make landfall over the Isabela Aurora area on Tuesday morning. Take a listen.
I'll make my call. I am a worker of government, precisely paid to do my job. I have keeping peace, fighting drugs. That's the thing. And I should be there during typhoons. There's one coming. I'll make my call, my round of calls tonight. Ayaw ko yung gagamitin yung pera. Yun lang naman.
According to Pagasa, Rosita weakened and slightly changed course, but continues to pose threats towards northern Luzon. The typhoon packs maximum sustained winds of up to 170 kilometers per hour near the center and gusts of up to 210 kilometers per hour. President Duterte appealed to the Commission on Audit, or COA, not to make life difficult for local government units when it comes to the use of funds for the typhoon victims. He said relief and other much-needed assistance should be extended unhampered to the typhoon victims.
Because sasabi nila, COA circular. Itong COA na buisit na ito, kung gusto ninyo magpatakbo, opisina ninyo, you are independent, constitutionally. Huwag kang makialam how I do it. Kasi may circular daw, ganito. Tawagan mo yung COA dito, puntahin mo dito. Making it hard. You know, I'm trying to equalize everything. You give it to a politician, he will play with it. To the detriment of those, ibigay niya sa, niya, and he will overhaul the entire, and it goes kaput.
The president also wants to ensure that the aid for the victims would reach them without any reference to any officials.
I said we have all the good intentions. Ang problema sa baba, down the line. Kaya ganito ang Pilipinas. Ako, magpadala ako ng relief goods, 500 million worth. Pagdating dyan sa local pa lang, galing budget, pagbili na, yung 5 million, hindi pwede yan. Kasi baka tayo tatamaan ng linang, kuna natin yan, reserva. So, 400 na lang. Pagdating doon sa regional level, goods na. Huwag lahat si Mayor, sabi niya, magtabi tayo para sa mga tao niya. So, worth 300. Pagdating doon sa baba, Sila lang pala tayo, tumaan tayo ng typhoon. Kasi wala, sige, kunin. So, yung beneficiary talagang walang bahay, walang kain, ang abot sa kanya, siguro maiwan. Mabuti siya siguro, abot ng 50,000. Yan, gano'n yan.
Five areas in northern Luzon are now under signal number 3, while at least 17 more provinces are under tropical cyclone warning signal number 2, as Typhoon U2 moves closer to northern Luzon. U2, named Rosita when it entered the Philippine area of responsibility, has weakened and has maximum sustained winds of 170 kilometers per hour from this morning's maximum, or 150 kilometers per hour from this morning's 170 kilometers per hour near the center, and gustiness of up to 210 kilometers per hour. The typhoon's gusts as of 4 p.m. were recorded at 185 kilometers per hour. Let's listen in.
At si Typhoon Rosita, napanatili po niya ang lakas na hangin na umaabot sa 150 kilometers per hour, samantalang pagbugso ng hangin ay umaabot sa 185 kilometers per hour. At ito naman po ang ating forecast track ng Bagyong Rosita. Inasa atin na hihina ang Bagyong Rosita, habang ito'y papalapit sa bansa, lalo po sa Isabela, Aurora area. At bukas ng hapon, kita naman po na magiging severe tropical storm itong si Bagyong Rosita dahil sa epekto ng kalupaan. At October 31 ng hapon, ang mata ng bagyo ay malapit na po sa PAR line. And then sa November 1 ng hapon ay nasa labas na po ng PAR itong si Bagyong Rosita. So, ang mga lugar po na sa ilalim ng signal number 3 ay sa Isabela, Quirino, Northern Aurora, Nueva Vizcaya at Ifugao. So, ang mga lugar nito makakaranas ng masungit na panahon, malakas ng hangin at malakas na pag-ulan. At inaasahan po natin ang mga baybaying dagat sa mga lugar nito ay magiging maalon hanggang sa napakaalon. Kaya delikado pong pumalaot ang ating mga kababayan. Signal number 2 naman, ang mga lugar po na sa ilalim nito ay sa Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Ilocos Sur, Mountain Province, La Union, Benguet, Pangasinan, Tarlac, Nueva Ecija, Northern Quezon kasama Pulilo Island, Southern Aurora, Zambales, Pampanga at Bulacan. Ang mga lugar nito ay makaranas pa rin ng masungit na panahon. Ito po yung mga lakas na hangin at malakas na pag-ulan. And nandiyan pa rin yung banta ng malataas na alon dulot ng itong parating na bagyo. Signal number 1 naman, ito yung makakaranas ng pag-ulan at pagbugso ng hangin. Ito ang mga lugar nito na silalim nito ay Southern Quezon, Batanes, Babuyan Group of Islands, Rizal, Metro Manila, Laguna, Batangas, Bataan, Cavite at Camarines Norte. Itong kanina umaga, wala pa tayo na inaasahan malalakas na pag-ulan dulot ni Rosita. At mayang gabi, 8 o'clock, may mga light to moderate rains ang inaasahan po natin sa may bandang Cagayan, Apayao at Isabela. Mamayang gabi po ay makakaranas ng light to moderate rains na po sa Cagayan, Isabela at Aurora. Apayao, Cagayan, Apayao at Isabela. At kita naman po yung malalakas ang ulan ay nasa dagat pa lamang po. Bukas, Martes, bukas ng umaga, inaasahan tayong malalakas na pag-ulan sa Northern Luzon, lalo na po sa Aurora, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya. Ito yung mga malalakas na pag-ulan na inaasahan po natin. Ibig sabihin po niya, magiging maulan na po bukas, mostly sa Northern Luzon, kasama po ang eastern section ng Central Luzon. Sa Metro Manila, wala pa tayo na inaasahan na mapag-ulan dulot ng Bagyong Rosita. Pero bukas ng gabi, ay may mga pag-ulan na po na maranasan sa Metro Manila, light to moderate rains. Pero patuloy pa rin na magiging maulan sa Northern and Central Luzon. Sa Wednesday, October 31, itong malalakas na pag-ulan ay nasa West Philippine Sea. Bukas sa October 31, umaga, may makakaranas pa rin ng light to moderate rains sa bandang Bataan, Zambales. At meron din mga light to moderate rains na inaasahan sa October 31, umaga sa Aurora. Sa October 31 ng gabi, tuloy na pong lumalayo ang bagyo. Yung concentrated malalakas ng pag-ulan ay nasa West Philippine Sea, October 31 ng gabi. May mga mahinang pag-ulan na maranasan na araw na yon sa Bataan, Zambales at sa Aurora. Inaasahan po rin natin ang storm surge na aabot sa 3 meters sa coastal areas sa Isabela, Cagayan, Aurora, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, at La Union. At dahil nga po may parating na bagyo, yung mga lugar po na silalim ng tropical cycle warning signal number 1, 2, and 3, at kasama na rin po yung mga lugar na silalim ng gale warning. So ano po inaasahan natin itong track ni Bagyong Rosita o yung mata, sandadaan yung mata ng Bagyong Rosita o sentro ng Bagyong Rosita. Inaasahan natin magla-landfall siya bukas ng umaga between 5 o'clock hanggang 7 o'clock ng umaga sa Southern Isabela, Northern Aurora area. And then after ng lugar nito, dadaan sa Aurora, and then Isabela, Quirino, tapos Ifugao, Nueva Vizcaya, Benguet, at maaari po mag-exit landmass sa La Union. At tomorrow afternoon, inaasahan po natin mag-exit sa landmass itong sentro o mata ng Bagyong Rosita. Bukas po ng hapon, kapag di magbabago ang pagkilos ng bagyo, sa Wednesday po ng gabi pa, lalabas ng par si Bagyong Rosita.
Tributes are pouring in for an owner of an English Premier League soccer club who died in a helicopter crash this weekend. Leicester City's Thai billionaire boss Vichai Prava was among 5 people killed when his helicopter crashed and burst into flames in the Premier League side stadium car park moments after taking off from the pitch. Vichai, 60, the owner of Thailand's King Power duty-free empire, was a regular at matches, who used to fly to and from home games. The blue chopper took off from the middle of the pitch once the stadium had emptied after Saturday's 1-1 draw with West Ham. Eyewitnesses said the helicopter appeared to develop a mechanical problem in its rear propeller shortly after takeoff. Vichai bought Leicester City in 2010 and moved to chairman the following February, pouring millions into the team and becoming a beloved figure in the club and the city, a feat rarely achieved by the Premier League's foreign owners. It was under Vichai's ownership that Leicester crafted one of the biggest fairy tales in English football history by winning the 2015-2016 Premier League, having started the season as 5,001 outsiders for the title. Vichai's investments in the club helped return them to the Premier League from the second-tier championship in 2014.
Oh, he's put Leicester on the map. He's made us big. We're not just a little club anymore.
I don't think it's ever be done again. I really don't. It's absolutely brilliant. And I didn't realise, but he never took a penny out of the club. Everything he gave lots to the hospitals. Was it £1 million? And all stuff like that. So, a fantastic man. I mean, personally, I think he's the best. I mean, I've been a supporter 60 years, so personally, I think he's the best owner we've ever had.
That he is going to live even more now. So after this has happened, it's just going to raise it so much more, because it's never going to happen again. I don't think, not in our lifetime anyway. And like I say, with this happening, it's just made it so much more special.
Mourners gathered in Pittsburgh to honor the 11 victims killed when authorities said a gunman opened fire on a synagogue in the neighborhood of Squirrel Hill. Take a look. A female cleric led an a cappella rendition of the American national anthem, and a male cantor did the same for the Hatikvah, a Jewish poem and Israel's national anthem. Earlier, Americans learned the identities of the 11 people killed in the brutal assault at the Tree of Life Synagogue, a group that included a 97-year-old woman, an octogenarian couple, and 2 brothers.
We're in the early stages of this investigation, and over the next several days and weeks, we will look at everything in the suspect's life: his home, his vehicle, his social media, and his movements over the last several days. At this point, we have no knowledge that Bowers was known to law enforcement before today.
There were 11 fatalities as a result of the shooting incident. There were no children. There were additionally 6 injuries, to include 4 of the police officers. That does not include the suspect.
The actions of Robert Bowers represent the worst of humanity. We are dedicating the entire resources of my office to this federal hate crime investigation and prosecution, and we expect to file criminal charges shortly, perhaps as early as today.
Well, I don't know the calibers at this point. We think one was an assault rifle, and we know that the suspect had at least 3 handguns on him at the time. After he entered the synagogue, it looks like at that point he murdered the 11 parishioners. I believe he was exiting, or in the process of exiting the synagogue, when a Pittsburgh uniformed officer engaged him. That Pittsburgh officer was subsequently wounded. He withdrew, and as he withdrew, the defendant or the suspect went back into the synagogue in order to hide from SWAT officers who were moving towards the synagogue.
Now, authorities named 46-year-old Robert Bowers as their only suspect in the shooting.
During the course of his deadly assault on the people of the synagogue, Bowers made statements regarding genocide and his desire to kill Jewish people.
Now, federal officials said Sunday that 46-year-old suspect Robert Bowers, arrested at the synagogue after a firefight with police, now faces 29 federal charges, many carrying the death penalty. He has been hospitalized with multiple gunshot wounds but will appear before a federal magistrate Monday, U.S. time. 3 congregations were reportedly meeting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in the Squirrel Hill district of Pittsburgh on Saturday morning. Members of the New Light congregation were meeting in a basement area. Carl Solomon, 81, a congregation member who turned back from the synagogue but had spoken to survivors, told the New York Times. Richard Gottfried, 65, and Daniel Stein, 71, were in the kitchen and both were shot dead. President Donald Trump mourned the dead and forcefully condemned anti-Semitism.
This wicked act of mass murder is pure evil, hard to believe, and frankly, something that is unimaginable. Our nation and the world are shocked and stunned by the grief. We condemn the historic evil of anti-Semitism and every other form of evil. And unfortunately, evil comes in many forms. We mourn for the unthinkable loss of life that took place today. And we pledge in their name to fight for a future of justice, safety, tolerance, morality, dignity, and love. We must all rise above the hate, move past our divisions, and embrace our common destiny as Americans.
Meanwhile, following the deadly shooting at the Pittsburgh synagogue, the mayor of Pittsburgh says guns need to be taken away from those who are looking to use them to express hatred. But President Trump encouraged the revival of the death penalty. Take a look.
I think the approach that we need to be looking at is how we take the guns, which is the common denominator of every mass shooting in America, out of the hands of those that are looking to express hatred through murder.
Terrible. As president, it's a level of terribleness and horror that you can't even believe. It's hard to believe. It's just You stand as president and you do what people say is a good job. What I say, you just do the absolute best. You say something like this and you see something like this and you say, how can it happen? As president, as bad as you felt before, you feel worse. And I just find it hard to believe. But what happened here, this whole situation, the level of death, the level of evil, the level of sickness. I mean, he's a sick person. And really, these people have to be brought to trial rapidly, not over a 10-year period. And they have to have the ultimate sacrifice, which is their life. You have to go back to the death penalty. This is a case for the death penalty. Okay? Thank you very much.
In other news, former Army Captain Jair Bolsonaro was elected president of Brazil, promising a fundamental change in direction for the giant Latin American country, the latest to take a turn to the far right. Take a look.
Vamos juntos transformar esse país em uma grande nação. Uma nação livre, democrática e próspera. Brasil acima de tudo.
Now, despite repulsing many with his open support of the torture used by Brazil's former military regime, as well as remarks deemed misogynist, racist, and homophobic, Bolsonaro managed to tap voters' deep anger with corruption, crime, and economic malaise. Official results gave the controversial president-elect 55.13% of the votes in the runoff election to 44.87% for the leftist opponent Fernando Haddad, with 99.99% of the ballots counted. Bolsonaro, 63, will take office on January 1. Dubbed the tropical Trump by some, Bolsonaro publicly admires the American leader. Eagle News International will be right back. Stay tuned.
Health is
Welcome back. A second surge of Honduran migrants clashed with Guatemalan police after a first wave of more than 1,000 migrants broke through a Guatemalan police cordon on the Mexican border. Take a look. Guatemala's human rights ombudsman, Jordan Rodas, called on his country's authorities in a statement to protect the rights of Hondurans during their stay in the country. Hondurans are fleeing poverty and gang violence in their homeland. A caravan that left 2 weeks ago made its way into Mexico, where up to 7,000 migrants, according to a UN estimate, are walking towards the U.S. despite threats from President Trump to employ the military to prevent them from entering. Mexican television showed a migration officer telling Hondurans behind the metal gate that they needed to follow legal procedures to enter the country in a calm and safe way. Mexican authorities reiterated on Sunday that Honduran migrants would be allowed to enter as refugees. At least 60 migrants have already done so from the group stranded at the border. In other news, Angela Merkel will step down as German Chancellor when her mandate ends in 2021, according to a party source telling AFP, following a series of political crises and regional vote debacles rocking her fragile coalition. Now, she told party top brass her mandate running to 2021 will be her last term, and that she has no plans to seek a post in the European Commission following that, despite speculation to that effect in Brussels. Her decision comes after her party suffered heavy losses in regional elections that threatened the stability of the governing coalition. Both parties under Merkel's ruling coalition, the CDU and the Social Democratic Party, suffered heavy losses in a regional election over the weekend, while the CDU remained the largest party in the election, which was held in central state of Hesse. Results were down 10% from the previous election. In other news, members of the Church of Christ in Barcelona, Spain, joined the worldwide Aid to Humanity as part of the Church's global efforts to fight poverty. Reporting from Barcelona, here's Lynn Bautista Tumbaga-Diez.
The members of the Church of Christ in Barcelona, Spain, held a Linga Pamamahayag as they take part in the Church of Christ worldwide Aid to Humanity.
The members participated actively by inviting many guests in this event. The guests were given goodwill bags, and more importantly, they were invited to attend to an evangelical mission. The event was headed by the Assistant District Minister, Brother Joel Catalan, and also the local ministers, Brother Julius Lansangan and Brother Lloyd Mendoza. Many guests expressed their gratitude on this event. The event was successful because of the cooperation of the members of the Church of Christ and their willingness to help those who are in need.
From Barcelona, Spain, I'm Lynn Bautista Tumbaga-Diez, and I'm one with 25.
Thank you, Lynn. Eagle News International will be right back. Stay tuned.
sagutin ang mga tanong ng kabataan.
Grabe! Rated SPG! Maselan!
Higpitan ang paggabay.
Pag rated MTRCB, rated responsable.
All right, welcome back. President Duterte has authorized the military to temporarily take over the Bureau of Customs. He said its purpose is to clean up the corruption-laden agency. It's also to prevent the smuggling of illegal drugs and other contraband into the country.
They will be replaced, all of them, by military men. It will be a takeover of the armed forces in the matter of operating. In the meantime, while we are sorting out how to effectively meet the challenges of corruption in this country. With this kind of games that they are playing, dirty games, I am forced now to ask the armed forces to take over.
Last week, President Duterte announced the transfer of Customs Chief Isidro La Peña to the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority and designated Maritime Industry Authority Administrator Ray Leonardo Guerrero to take over the Bureau. The President made the announcement in front of military and government officials, including La Peña and Guerrero, during the 117th anniversary of the Philippine Coast Guard in Port Area, Manila on Thursday. The change in the BOC's leadership came because of the issue on the 6.8 billion peso shabu shipment, which allegedly slipped into the country through magnetic lifters. He said BOD employees would be put or BOC employees would be put in floating status temporarily.
I'd like to put on notice everybody in the Bureau of Customs. They are all floating status. They can maybe start again working, but I said they are on floating status. The Customs Intelligence Unit, they are to report to Malacanang, all of them. I am ordering everybody to report to my office. Maybe I'll issue the memorandum. I have yet to sign it. They will hold office there at the Malacanang gymnasium. Lahat. Remember that I have issued during the first days of my term, this is the declaration of lawlessness. Part of the lawless elements are there inside the Bureau of Customs. Alam mo, baka sabihin ni Duterte, hindi naman kami lahat magdanakaw eh. Correct. So very correct. You are right. Not all of you are thieves or robbers. But you know, you must be an idiot not to understand. You say that you are honest, that you are not part of the cabal there. And so, if that is your line, I cannot move, and you stay there, then I have to speculate if you are really a gangster working for the Bureau of Customs, a government employee. I do not have time for that.
In other news, Kenya's flag carrier inaugurated its 15-hour non-stop daily flight to the Big Apple, carrying hopes that the direct connection to the United States can encourage trade and investments. The 15-hour flight will cut short the long hours spent by passengers in different continents to catch a connecting flight to the U.S. The flight coming back on Monday, flight KQ003, will depart JFK at 12:25 p.m. on Monday and get into Nairobi at 10:55 a.m. on Tuesday, taking only 14 hours. Kenya Airways will be the first airline in East Africa to have a direct flight to the U.S. Other countries with direct flights from Africa include South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, Ethiopia, Senegal, and Morocco. The news continues here on Eagle News International. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The first Franco-Chinese satellite was launched into orbit on Monday to study ocean surface winds and waves around the clock, better predict cyclones, and improve scientists' understanding of climate change. A Long March 2C carrier rocket blasted off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China's Gobi Desert at 12:43 GMT to enter orbit 520 kilometers above the Earth, according to China's State Administration of Science, Technology, and Industry for National Defense. The 650-kilogram China-France Oceanography Satellite, or CFOSat, is the first satellite jointly built by China and France and will allow climate scientists to better understand interactions between oceans and the atmosphere. The satellite is fitted with two radars, the French-made SWIM, which will measure the direction and the wavelength of waves, and China's SCAT, which will analyze the force and direction of winds. The data will be collected and analyzed in both countries.
Each one brings its own contribution, and with the two contributions together, you can have access to more ambitious missions.
双方的话，通过这个合作也取长补短，互相的话都有收获，并且的话，对于国际的合作的这种相关的程序呢，大家克服了文化和习惯上的差异，达成了一致，为我们开展后续的国际合作也创造了很好的条件。
In other news, responding to the ever-rising demand for food bank donations, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, in partnership with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, gave perishable items to the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. Kathleen Cruz reports.
One of the major problems today is the lack of food. According to Hunger Statistics of Canada, about 852,137 Canadians turn to their food banks each month to access food. This increase of demand and decrease in food donations, the Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ launches a food donation drive here in Vancouver, Canada to help their community.
In conjunction with the worldwide aid to humanity efforts of the Iglesia ni Cristo, its charity arm, the FYM Foundation in the Vancouver area, is doing its part by donating 250 boxes of perishable items to the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. According to the food bank, it serves approximately 26,000 people every week in 13 locations across the Greater Vancouver area. This year, demand at the local food banks has increased by 22%. Donations, on the other hand, have decreased, and with the steady increase in membership and a declining number of donations, it is no wonder that the food bank is struggling to keep up with demand.
Food bank is a place where our members can come to when they need that help getting a meal on their table, supplementing what they already have or what they don't have, because we also get a lot of people from the street coming in. So coming here might be their only place to get something. Actual food donations, again, will feed a lot of people. Cash donations for every dollar raised is worth, we have 3 times the buying power. So if we're like this summer, we were low. So what cash donations we had, we were able to buy fresh produce and provide our members more with fresh produce than actual food, our canned food kind of thing. All donations of healthy, nutritious food is very, very important. It's appreciated. Any kind of donation of time, financial donation, food donation, and volunteering could be in the warehouse, at an event, you're good at the computer, whatever, all that stuff is very, if it wasn't for, the volunteers that we have, we wouldn't be sustainable.
Recognizing the gap between supply of food donations and demand for them, the FYM Foundation in Vancouver pledged to donate 250 boxes of food items to the food bank. Today, volunteers bring perishable items such as canned goods, pasta, rice, and other products in an effort to alleviate food insecurity.
Right now, the Church of Christ or the Iglesia ni Cristo all over the world has this activity, the IRC Giving for Humanity, wherein we will help those people who are in need. So the brethren inside the Church of Christ or the Iglesia ni Cristo give their share, donations, food parcels, and we will give this to the food bank here in Canada, specifically here in Vancouver, so that we will be able to help those who are in the street and really need help.
Reporting from Vancouver, Canada, I am Kathleen Cruz. I am 1 with 25.
And in baseball, Steve Pearce smashed 2 home runs as the Boston Red Sox ramped to their 9th World Series crown on Sunday, pounding the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1 with a ruthless display of hitting to clinch the Major League Baseball championship with 2 games to spare. Pearce's double blast sandwich home runs from Mookie Betts and JD Martinez to seal a 4-1 victory in the best-of-7 matchup as the Dodgers' quest for a first World Series title since 1988 ended in a disappointment. The 35-year-old Pearce, who supported the Red Sox as a boy, only joined the club in June after an 11-year career in the majors. Red Sox pitcher David Price claimed the win with a sublime pitching performance, notching 5 strikeouts in 7 masterful innings for 1 run, just 3 hits conceded. And in NBA, Tyronn Lue, who coached the Cleveland Cavaliers to the 2016 NBA title, was fired Sunday after the club's latest loss in a league-worst 0-6 start, the club confirmed. The announcement by Cavaliers general manager Kobe Altman came after Indiana beat Cleveland 119-107 on Saturday, with associate coach Larry Drew being promoted to interim coach. Former associate coach Lou took over the LeBron James-led Cavs in January 2016 after the mid-season firing of Dave Blatt and guided Cleveland to its first NBA crown and the first for any team in the city since 1964 NFL Browns. But James departed in the offseason for the Los Angeles Lakers and little was expected of the Cavs this season. James tweeted his appreciation for Lou on Sunday afternoon. T. Lou, thanks for the memories and more importantly, our partnership bring a trophy to the deserved CD fan base. You know how to find me, James tweeted. Lou, 41, went 128-83 in just over 2.5 seasons as the Cavaliers coach with a 41-20 record in the playoffs. But with James gone, not even 3 consecutive trips to the finals in his first 3 seasons as coach could save Lou. The Cavs have not led the season in the second half and are off to their worst start since 1995. In a statement to ESPN, Lou thanked Altman, former Cavs general manager David Griffin, and team owner Dan Gilbert. And these are the stories for EN Sports. I'm Ben Bernaldez and I am 1 with 25.
And finally in our news, China's wushu martial artists wrestle bulls in a unique sport they say is not cruel to the animals and hope it could even enter the Olympics. Take a look.
这个牛的话，它也会很凶猛，它有脚，它会用它的犄角去顶你。对，然后它的力气，它甩就会把你力气就会很大，然后同时它也有可能会用脚踩，对。
And that's it for tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Eagle News International, I'm Alma Angeles, always 1 with 25. Good night.